World's football's greatest competition on earth, the FIFA World Cup is just around the corner, and the 2022 Qatar edition will be the first tournament hosted in the Middle East and the first to be held at the end of the year in November and December. And the usual suspects will be in the foreground, but there is always room for the underdog. So, let's break down the final 32 and find out who looks most likely to lift the trophy. Group A: Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands. Hosts are never easy to assess as they don't dispute the qualifiers, but Qatar will hope Asian Cup success in 2019 and guest appearances at the 2019 Copa America and last year's CONCACAF Gold Cup weren't for nothing. And with South Africa remaining the only host to fail to make it out of the group, expectations should be relatively high. Having reached their fourth World Cup, Ecuador is one of the less intimidating South American sides, having lost 6 of its 18 qualifiers, and will be relying heavily on 32-year-old Ener Valencia, the nation's all-time top scorer, to deliver their goals. This is the golden age of Senegalese football. After winning the Africa Cup of Nations and squeaking past Egypt again to earn their spot, Senegal are on a high. In Edouard Mendy, Kalidou Koulibaly, Ismail Assar and Sadio Mane, manager Aliou Cissé has made a core of an excellent team with a very strong defense extremely hard to beat. Having failed to qualify for the 2018 edition, the Dutch are the class of the field. They are seemingly back on track under returning manager Louis van Gaal, who led them to the semi-finals in Brazil in 2014, and whose clarity of vision turned out to be just what a youthful and potentially promising squad required. With the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Frankie de Jong, Memphis Depay and Matthijs de Ligt, the Netherlands look a formidable side again. The Netherlands should top the group, with Senegal in the second spot, while Qatar should be glad to grasp a win over Ecuador, which should be a huge party for the hosts. Group B: England, Iran, United States, Wales. England has made steady progress under Gareth Southgate and will be looking to go one step further after reaching the semi-finals of the 2018 World Cup and final at the recent European Championship. Not being dubbed a favorite could allow the three Lion stars to flourish, and they have plenty of very capable performers within their ranks, including Trent Alexander-Arnold, Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho, and, of course, Harry Kane. Iran is solid rather than spectacular, and it will prove to be a difficult unit to break down. Coach Dragan Skocic oversaw a team that conceded only 4 goals over 10 matches in the final round of qualifying, but they do have dangerous forwards in Sardar Azmoun and Mehdi Taremi if opponents doze off. A team that has been in fine form lately is the United States. The nation has all the attributes to cause a major upset, as there is so much exciting young talent with the likes of Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie. It would be safe to say that USA will be one of the sides to watch out for ahead of the World Cup. The Welsh qualified for their first World Cup since 1958. A bound and highly motivated squad have become accustomed to getting results against elite opposition and will feel a knockout spot is there for the taking. Aaron Ramsey and Joe Allen are both over the hill, and Gareth Bale maintained his best level of play in the international stage and is a menace down the flank. In the Battle of the Commonwealth, England should secure the first place, with Wales taking the second spot after a close fight with the United States. Group C: Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, Poland. This is likely Lionel Messi's last chance to hoist the World Cup, and it may be his best. Although Argentina is missing the high-profile names of previous years and tournaments, the likes of Lautaro Martinez, Paulo Dybala and Giovanni Lo Celso have certainly boosted the squad. Lionel Scaloni has turned the once fragmented and chaotic group into one with balance, and coming off a Copa America title, the Albiceleste is in a good place again. With World Cup veteran Hervé Renard on the touchline, Saudi Arabia won't be a pushover of any of its matches, but a lack of overall top-end talent will probably prove too great of an obstacle. Mexico is looking to end the curse after being eliminated in the round of 16 in each of the last 7 World Cups. Despite having forwards of the caliber of Irving Lozano, Raul Jimenez and Jesus Corona, this is probably the least inspiring team of any of that stretch, at least based on the inconsistent form showed in qualifying. Poland is coming off 2 horrible major tournament appearances, and certainly there is a sense that with Robert Lewandowski and players like Matty Cash, Wozniak Szczesny and Piotr Zielinski, there is good potential and it should be more successful than it has been. With Argentina coming as one of the contenders in the best shape, Mexico and Poland both go into the competition with question marks, but with a man who can score from anywhere like Robert Lewandowski, the Poles should advance out of the group. Group D: France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia. Reigning champions and tournament favorites France boast a formidable squad, and they could probably field 2 competitive teams at the tournament. Such is its talent pool, with the biggest challenge being managing the players' egos. Paul Pogba, Kylian Mbappe and Antoine Griezmann will be joined by a Karim Benzema in the best form of his life, and a clutch of young pretenders looking to repeat what happened in 2018. Australia showed great resilience to come through playoffs against the United Arab Emirates and Peru. Hopefully they will be able to keep momentum after a qualification campaign that saw the Socceroos struggle for consistency. The emotion of Christian Eriksen's collapse and recovery undoubtedly helped forge a ferocious team spirit and fuel their run to the Euro 2020 semi-finals, but Denmark have proved without a doubt that they are amongst the world's top international teams. Kasper Schmeichel, Simon Kjær are the team leaders, and best of all, Eriksen is pulling the strings once again. Tunisia breaks the game up, apparently more determined to prevent the opposition playing than playing themselves. And unless in cessation Hannibal Mabry takes a big step forward in the coming months, goals will be hard to come by. France and Denmark put on a pulsating show in the battle for first place in the group, while the other two teams unfortunately get overrun by the heavy European favorites. Group E: Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, Japan. Having suffered chastening World Cups since their success, Spain has won just 2 World Cup matches since 2010, and La Roja has certainly seen massive changes in the squad. Under Luis Enrique, there has been a process of rebuilding, with the lack of a top-class striker being the main issue for the 2010 winners, but the potential of the new generation led by Pedri, Gavi and Ferran Torres is clear. After topping the group of death in 2014 that had 3 world champions and having reached the quarterfinals for the first time in their nation's history, Costa Rica are in a similar situation in 2022. With names like Joel Campbell and the star shot stopper Keylor Navas, Los Ticos have shown that they can punch above their weights and will have another chance to reach for the moon. Germany's embarrassment of being eliminated at the group stage in 2018 at the bottom of the group triggered the need for a new identity. The transition between generations is being cleverly managed, and the Mannschaft has a number of young talented players who are keen to leave their mark on the grand stage, with the teaming of Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka in the center midfield being a foundational piece for the new Germany. Japan has never ventured beyond the last 16 and will likely feel aggrieved about the draw. Takefusa Kubo and Takumi Minamino are more than capable of splendid moments, but on the whole, upsetting the European heavyweights will be a Herculean task. As for who will be the group winner, this is a tricky one, but Spain will edge Germany for top spot. Group F: Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia. Belgium had a good campaign last time out in Russia, ended up finishing 3rd in the competition, but it feels like that this is the last chance for the golden generation to deliver and erase memories of all the false dawns. The Red Devils seem to be on the decline, particularly with an aging backline where Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld will have a combined age of 68 by the time the World Cup begins, and Romelu Lukaku's form raising questions. But Kevin De Bruyne remains one of the best midfielders in the world. Canada returns to the World Cup for the first time since 1986, where they lost all 3 games and failed to score. But this Canadian squad is in an entirely different level and could be the revelation of the competition, with established superstar Alphonso Davies leading and Jonathan David and Sailarian being capable of troubling anyone. Morocco is in chaos. A dispute between manager Vahid Halilhodžić and Hakim Ziyech has robbed Morocco of its most attacking threats, but Achraf Hakimi provides the type of explosive presence down the right flank that can compensate. Croatia nearly ended up with a fairy tale campaign when the side marched to the World Cup final in 2018. Such is the quality available to Zlatko Dalic, this technically excellent side will always have a good chance of going far. Regarded as Croatia's golden generation, the likes of Luka Modric, Ante Rebic and Ivan Perisic are some of the stars that have really made their mark recently, and the side would be hoping for a similar campaign in the 2022. Belgium, despite some cracks starting to show, will get another shot at a run in the knockout stages. And although Canada have been playing the best football in CONCACAF in the last 2 years, a much more experienced Croatia will grab the second spot. Group G: Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. Coming as tournament favorites alongside France, 5-time world champions Brazil will be hoping to end a 20-year wait for glory on the global stage. Neymar may be the Canarinhas' most talented player, but he has become such an enormous figure that the team ends up being centered on him. But in 2019, a dynamic squad managed to win the Copa America without the talisman, and with players such as Rafinha, Richarlison and Philippe Coutinho, not to mention up-and-comers such as Vinicius Juniors and Gabriel Martinelli, they are well equipped to mount a challenge. Serbia is a team that tends to arrive at tournaments high on promise, but ends up short on delivery. But it could be different this time. Dragan Stojkovic returned home last year and oversees a side based on the creative talents of Dusan Tadic, with Dusan Vlahovic leading a set of exciting center-forward options such as Luka Jovic, and Sergei Milinkovic-Savic is now in his prime. Quality is likely to be less of an issue than Serbian football's tradition penchant for self-destruction. Vladimir Petkovic's 7-year reign as Switzerland coach came to an end after an impressive impressive Euro 2020, and they have been inconsistent since under their new coach Murat Yakin. But an inexperienced side with Xherdan Shaqiri, Aris Seferovic, led by captain Granit Xhaka, will be formidable opponents when functioning fully. After the most dramatic qualifying finale of any country in the event, Rigobert Song, a veteran of 4 World Cups as a player, has a chance of guiding a talented Cameroon squad which will lean heavily on Vincent Aboubakar and Eric Choupo-Moting to deliver the goals into the knockout stages, which the indomitable Lions have not reached since 1990. Brazil will be tested just enough to stay honest and should take care of the group, while the battle will be tied for second place with a slight advantage going to Serbia. Group H: Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, South Korea. For Cristiano Ronaldo, this is going to be his 5th and probably the last FIFA World Cup. And as with Lionel Messi, the biggest difference for Portugal from recent World Cups is that the seleção now has enough talent in their ranks and would be looking to challenge for the crown in Qatar. A star-studded squad with the likes of Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes, Diogo Jota and João Felix can defeat any side on their day and might be the difference in pushing Ronaldo to perhaps reach his most sought trophy. Ghana supporters will be salivating over the prospect of gaining revenge over Uruguay in their World Cup group after the bad memories of 2010 quarterfinal. Manager Otto Addo instilled a sense of calmness that was lacking, and the Black Stars, which are trying to recruit Ghanaians abroad like Arsenal's Eddie Nketiah and Athletic Bilbao brothers Nico and Inaki Williams, in order to increase the strength of the team, could defy the odds. Uruguay revitalized since Diego Alonso replaced iconic bench boss Oscar Tabarez, but will be relying on an aging core that was already creaking in 2018. 4 years later, Luis Suarez and Edison Cavani may not be at their peak anymore, but with Georgian de Arrascaeta and the rising Darwin Núñez, La Celeste, who have a habit of showcasing gladiatorial strikers at World Cups, will still be a fierce contender. South Korea qualified convincingly to their 10th World Cup in a row. Former Portugal manager Paulo Bento, now in charge of the Asian side, has built an impressive team based on its defense that has the ever-present Son Heung-min as the obvious star and the emerging presence of Hwang Hee-chan up front. Portugal's Ronaldo should grab the top position, with Uruguay advancing to the second place. Fun fact: if Portugal and Argentina both top their groups, they can only meet in the final, in a world-stopping showdown between Ronaldo and Messi, where the winner is crowned not only world champion, but the eternal talent of the past decade and a half. That's it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe, and don't forget to leave your predictions in the comments down below. See you next time. And speaking about fun facts, before we go, here's a top interesting fact about the Qatar 2022 edition, the first Winter World Cup in the Northern Hemisphere. This 2022 edition of the competition will be the first Winter World Cup in the Northern Hemisphere. The World Cup usually takes place in mid-year, but when it came to Qatar, an exception just had to be thrown. Located in the Middle East, experiencing distressingly high temperatures that can reach 50 degrees Celsius, hosting any type of global event is deemed to be near impossible. And as a result, the FIFA World Cup has been moved from its usual summer location. This move made it the first Winter World Cup in the Northern Hemisphere and will start on November 21 and end with the final scheduled for December 18. Although it's not quite clear just yet how it will impact the club seasons throughout the world. The most expensive World Cup. Another interesting fact is the amount of money spent by the host country on preparations for the upcoming event. According to estimates, Qatar spent $200 billion on infrastructure projects, which include the construction of stadiums, highways, hotels, and so on. This will make the upcoming event one of the most expensive World Cups in the history of the game. Least number of stadiums to host the World Cup. Another unique fact about the upcoming World Cup in Qatar is the number of stadiums, which might raise a few eyebrows or more. In 1978, Argentina was the first country to host a FIFA World Cup with just 6 stadiums. 2 stadiums less than Qatar, as only 8 venues from 5 cities are prepared to host the FIFA 2022, which is the lowest number for a World Cup in recent years. In fact, out of all the 8 stadiums selected to host the tournament, only 1 got revamped completely, while the other 7 were built from scratch. The largest of the stadiums, Lusail Iconic Stadium, accommodates 86,000 spectators and will host the World Cup final. Record number of visitors. One of the most interesting facts is the number of visitors who are expected to arrive in the country during the event. As expected, the 2022 World Cup will probably receive a record number of visitors by the time the tournament ends. The reason behind this is simple to understand. Being one of the finest countries in the Middle East, Qatar's convenient geographic location right in the center of the world makes it like in close proximity to most nations. It is interesting to note Qatar Airways and Hamad International Airport will join hands to bring a record number of visitors to the country. It is estimated that there will be 1,300 flights coming to Qatar every day for the whole month. The most commutable. It is officially said to be the most commutable World Cup ever, considering the size and location location of Qatar. It is, in fact, way smaller than the host of the World Cup 2018, Russia. Host cities such as Doha, Lusail, Al Wakra and Al Rayyan are located close to each other. Therefore, moving from one place to another will not be a big problem for travelers. In fact, while local taxis like Karwa will help funds travel to different places, what is really fascinating is that the Doha Metro link connects all the venues for the World Cup. The Doha Metro is set to play a big hand once the World Cup kicks off in the country. It is estimated that the Metro link would be ferrying about 1 million people during the Qatar World Cup. As believed by experts, the number may even be higher than ever and would be a new record. Meanwhile, Qatar's two most remote stadiums, Al Bayt and Al Wakra, are only 90 miles away.